Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a very special episode of Wretched Rentals. My name is Phil, and usually I do this alongside my wife Emily. But tonight I have a very special guest. He's the writer and director of Shudder's brand new original film, Night of the Reaper, Brandon Christensen. Welcome, Brandon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, man. It's exciting
No
to be here.
worries, man. Um, so I got to tell you, I watched Night of the Reaper last week, I think, and then again I watched it again today.
Oh, cool.
Um, it might be better the second time around. It's
Nice.
yeah. I think you catch more, like because
Totally.
your eyes are open more for things, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. No,
But
totally.
what?
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's built for that. I mean, you can't expect people to watch a movie twice. You can't expect them to watch it once. But if you do watch it twice, I do think there is a lot in it that you didn't catch, or like even line deliveries and like things that people are saying. They
Yeah,
mean one thing the first time, but when you watch it again, it means something completely different. And so it's just like, yeah, it's just a totally different film the second time.
what a ride it is. It's a blast. I guess the first thing I got to ask you is, do you hate dogs?
No, it's funny. I mean, I've been asked that before, obviously, because people love dogs a lot and they are crazy about dogs. But I mean, if you look at, I mean, we're just gonna go right into spoiler territory. It doesn't really matter. But
Yeah,
the killer in the movie, the dogs that are dying, they're not dying on camera or even at that time. Like all the
right,
sounds when Dina is in the house and she hears and she goes looks and like and all that stuff. It's all human voices. It just sounds like dogs, like it's her trying to lure her out because she's just taking roadkill from her job and using that
right.
and placing them as a thing. But um, yeah, I mean, part of it is just like the fact that she lives on the fringes of society, just like picking up roadkill, and she's just kind of upset about that. But if I was doing a movie where it was like a bunch of dead babies, no one would care.
Yeah, it's funny,
People
right?
love people like dogs a lot more than babies, so it's just kind of like you do get an emotional response by having that in the film, and it's like makes you hate the person even more. So it's not me that hates dogs as much as just like the character and the audience reaction to something like that is it's gonna be larger than it would have been if it was any literally anything else.
Right. I am a dog lover, but I will say it
Yeah,
was tastefully done. Like even when you show the dogs on film, it's
yeah,
not very gory. It's not very like
right.
over the top. It's just it's there.
Yeah,
But I thought it was kind of funny. Like,
there's the one with the camper tape, and that one's pretty gross because we had like maggots on and we were like,
yes, yes,
but it's very
yes,
brief, and it's just yeah, it's just more of the same. But just she's just planting it to get people out of their spaces so she can go mess with them, and so it's just kind of like her calling card.
right, right. Um, do you? So you've done a lot of horror, and do you have like a go-to horror that you love? Like, did you grow up watching horror?
Yeah, no, I totally did. Growing up, I had a big family, and my parents liked watching horror at Halloween time. So, every year we would watch something at Halloween. And I was always way too young for it. I was in elementary school when I saw The Shining, and my mom, she would sit beside me, and she didn't like me seeing things like the naked woman in room two. Is it 237 in the book, or which one is it
Yes,
again? Yeah.
I think it's
Um, yeah, you know what I mean. But she didn't like me seeing that stuff, so she would inevitably just like cover my eyes, and you would just be in the dark and hearing things, and you're just thinking the whole time like, well, what is so scary on screen right now that my mom is freaking out about it, who's just, supposed to be an adult. And so ultimately
right.
you start coming up with your own things that are going to be way scarier because it's just a movie. And so I grew up watching that stuff, but when I saw the movie the miniseries, I watched it when it aired, and I was in kindergarten. Don't ask, but that totally messed me up. Like I was terrified, having recurring nightmares about Pennywise and like living in my closet and all this stuff for literally 7 or 8 years until I watched it again in junior high, and I was just like, oh, this isn't really that scary, But then
Yeah,
you're just kind of like chasing that high. You're like, okay, well, I want to be scared again. So you start watching more stuff, and you just go through, all the recommendations and all the things, and you're just trying to find that. And it's a very social thing too with friends. So it's a cool.
yes,
It's just
absolutely. Yeah.
comedies are similar, I think, too, where it's just like you find something that you and your friends can laugh about. Finding something that you and your friends can be scared about is also really cool.
Yeah. I so like for me it was Friday the 13th part 2. I remember being like 3 years old and sneaking out into the living room. My parents are watching it. I'm sitting next to the couch so they can't see
Nice.
me. And
Right.
like that's my earliest horror memory, you know. And you're
Okay.
right, you chase that for, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I for me my reoccurring, like you said, like thinking Pennywise was in the it was a nightmare. I couldn't go into the basement anymore as a kid. You
Okay.
know, like they'd be like, "Go
Yeah, mess.
downstairs and grab the laundry." I'm like, "Oh, I don't, man. I don't know, man." Like,
Yeah, not happening.
um, I noticed. Uh, so I've watched a few of your movies before, including the Puppet Man, and I did pick up on an Easter egg that I didn't know the first time I watched it. There is a reference to Night of the Reaper in that
Yeah,
movie
on the computer
on the
screen.
screen. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. Because
didn't
we
catch it
we
the
had
first
written
time.
right. I mean, no one would. It's kind of buried, but we had written Night of the Reaper before Puppet Man, or at least started it, and I always wanted to do it next, and it was just one of those things that, like, I'm shooting all this screen stuff well after we shot the film, and I was just sort of like, oh, that'd be a kind of a fun little Easter egg if the movie ever gets made, and fortunately it
Yeah.
did. But I made a post about that recently on Instagram, just being like, Easter egg, that's pretty fun.
I so I love Night. I loved the Puppet Man. Um what do you have a favorite of yours?
Um, I mean, like, there's different things that I like about different films. Like Superhost as a total, I think is probably my favorite experience because it was like the first solo script I'd ever written, so I was really kind of
Yep.
proud of that. Just like, I wrote it by myself. And we did it during COVID when there was no real rules established yet for production. Like we were one of the first people to start shooting with, SAG during all of that stuff. So like all the rules weren't really clearly defined, and there was all these restrictions and things we had to adhere to, and it was incredibly expensive. Like the budget was super small on that, but a lot of that money had to go towards testing and it had to go towards having like a medic on set that was just bleeding us dry
Constantly.
because we
Yeah.
just didn't yeah you just didn't have the money for that. And so back then tests were new and they were you had to mail them into a lab, and it was just like this.
Right.
It was a process, and so it was just kind of like there was only six of us on the crew. Like it was me plus six, and then there was the cast, which was really small, and we were all just sort of like in the mountains making this thing at a time that there was so much uncertainty. Like the only certain thing was like we're gonna make this movie. And
Right.
so that kind of like imprinted a really memorable time in my life onto it, and it's hard to top that just because it was such a cool experience. And the film I just enjoy a lot because it's got a lot of me in it, like a lot of the stupid humor and stuff like that, and it is, and like the plunger, all the stuff with that, like that stuff that happened to me with the Superhost person, and like an Airbnb rental, and it's just fun to kind of pick from your life and sprinkle things in.
Oh wait, so this that movie was like based on actual events for you?
I mean, yeah. So a couple of things. Like the first thing was I was in Toronto for a film festival for Z, and this was in
Hmm.
2019. And I was staying at a place, and the toilet didn't work, and so like I peed in it, and I couldn't flush it, and it was like two buttons, big and small for whichever
Yeah.
you're doing.
Yep.
And so I wrote the host of the place, and I'm like, hey, the toilet's not working. He's like, oh, there's buttons on top. I'm like, I know, but it just churns, nothing happens, and so. Long story short, he ended up coming to my place and plunging the toilet for me. And it was just this like conversation that we're having, making small talk as he's like plunging a toilet. And it was just this awkward thing. Like, this is such a bizarre experience. I'm inside of his space, like I'm in his condo or whatever it is. And we don't know each other. The system is built so we never meet. Like it's all automated. So it's just
Right.
this awkward, like, he's doing this thing for me, and it was the weirdest situation. So I was like, oh, there's totally a movie idea there. And then it just sort of sat in. And then when we were shooting at Stains the Sands Red, we rented this big house on an Airbnb house in Las Vegas for like the some of the the directors and the crew and some of the cast that were staying. Um, they were staying there and they had cameras in it. And
Yeah.
so when they left, and like they left it a total shithole, like they were not good guests, but they were using footage from it and like pictures to be like, hey, you have more people than we agreed to. And they tried to sue the company and stuff like that. And it was this like big mess, and it was all kind of dumb. But um, yeah, it was just like another thing with like being in someone's space and they're watching you, even though you inevitably just unplug them. But it was just this weird time because it was like 2015 or something like that. Like Airbnbs weren't that established yet. So it was the rules were a little bit looser back then, I think. But yeah, it was just this weird experience that we had, and so I just was like sprinkling more things in.
So you mentioned It Stains the Sands Red. That is it's one of my like top three favorite zombie movies of all times.
Cool.
It's done so differently where like
Yeah.
usually you get these hordes of zombies and
Mm-hmm.
instead you get just one. And you think to
Yeah.
yourself, like, I could outrun one, right?
Right.
But then you learn like they just don't stop. They
Right.
just keep coming. Like you,
Totally.
especially like in the desert, you get tired, you get like zapped, and it just keeps coming. So for me, that's
Mm-hmm.
like when people ask me like, "What's a good zombie movie?" I always point them to that one. Do
Cool.
you have
Yeah.
like a do you have a movie that you point to people like? I'm sure you must get like what's a good movie I can watch? What's it like?
Right.
Do you have like a go to
Yeah.
that you point to that?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the person. Like, if they're not a horror person, if you asked me for a movie, I would give you a different answer than I would like my wife's friend.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because so it's like if my wife's friend were to ask me about it, I don't really like horror, I want to watch something, I would say The Gift with Jason Bateman in it, which is like it leans a little bit more thriller, but it's just so well done. It's just I don't know if you've seen it, but it's very
Actually, I have not.
simple.
No.
It's really good. I like the score is amazing. It's just, Jason Bateman's always great. Rebecca Hall's great. The director, oh my God, what's his name? He's in it. He's the guy. He's the bad guy or whatever. Um, he's in when it comes at night. Why can I not think of his name? Um, anyways, he directed it too, and I think it's the only movie he's ever directed. But it's a total banger. Like just awesome. And it's not like supernatural. It's very just stalkerish a
Straightforward.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just really well done. So I would recommend that one to people that aren't really into horror that much. If you're into horror, I think something like The Ring, Blair Witch Project's like an all-timer for me. Um, I don't know. I
Change the
mean, there's
game.
so many classics. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think The Ring is just like such a Hollywood horror movie. Like it's long,
Yeah.
but it's so well done and like done on such a huge level that I think it's a great, kind of a just a general horror. It's got the cold open of the ages. It's got just like, it's just a great yarn that you're following, and I think everybody does such a great job. Gore Verbinski directed the shit out of it. So I think I wouldn't even say it's my favorite, but I think it's just a great, great horror movie.
Right. Right. Do you so like obviously you brought up The Ring, which is
Hmm.
great, which was adapted from a Japanese horror movie. Do you have like is there a piece of media that you've wanted to adapt, whether it was from a book or from another like a different movie or something?
Yeah, I mean, right now I would kill to adapt Masters of Doom. It's not a horror movie, but I don't know if you know what it is. It's about John Romero and John Carmack that made the video game Doom, and it's about like
Okay.
them meeting. It's kind of like a social network type of movie, more, but it kind of does have the little bit of horror because they're kind of horror fans, and they're making like Wolfenstein and Commander Keen and all these games, and just like they meet at this little software company and they bond over video games, and then they decide to do them on the side, and so they're like stealing equipment from the building that they work at to make these games over the weekend. And it's just this like amazing rise of these like 17, 18-year-old kids to just making like Doom and making millions upon millions of dollars and just like becoming just, they changed video games forever. Like they made the
Yeah.
ESRB rating system because of them. And just seeing them as just kids, and just developing this thing that's just literally changing the world. The story is just unbelievably cool. And then, they get to a point and there's kind of a fracture between the two Johns, and it just they go their own separate ways. And John Carmack, he was with like Meta. He did the Quest with them and stuff like that, the
Oh,
VR
okay.
stuff.
Yeah.
So just like hyper brilliant dude. And then John Romero is more just like the gamer guy of the two, and he's more of like the celebrity, I guess you would say. Like he travels and does all the cons and stuff like that for all that stuff. But he's like very much about the games, and John Carmack was more about the technology. And they just sort of like met at this point in time and just had this friendship that just like created so much stuff that changed so much. And then they just didn't last. And it's such a great story. I would love to do that. That's not horror. So if it was horror, I would like um I'd like to redo it again, but do it really scary. That's my go-to is like
Fair
I
enough.
think if the cast of the movies were great, the locations, everything, it's directed really well, but it just wasn't ever scary. Like it's
Yeah,
very rarely scary that you're just like feeling the dread that you feel. I don't know if you've read the book, but I have, and you
I
just
have.
it's
Yes.
so oppressive and just dark.
Yeah.
And the movies kind of scratch it a couple times, but they never really they kind of do the Marvel thing where they like pull their punches all the time, and
Yeah.
you're just like, man, I want like it done that well, but done really dark and scary the way it should be.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's always been Jaws. Like, I love
Okay.
the movie. It's a masterpiece. But I always felt like if they could have did it in smaller, bite-sized segments, like a series, and followed the actual book more, and focused on the people of Amityville instead of the shark,
Sure.
it would have been like a
Right.
really cool, But what do I know? I'm just a podcaster.
I honestly, one, I didn't know it was a book, so that's interesting. But two,
Oh, it's a
I'm shocked if
fantastic book.
oh, that's cool. I'm
Yeah.
curious. I would be shocked. I mean, like I don't know why they haven't done that. It seems so obvious. Like now they're
Yeah.
doing Friday the 13th prequel series, and it's like about the mom, I think. But then there's all these movies being done all the time and shows and stuff like that off these famous IPs. That seems like a no-brainer. I wonder if Spielberg's like, no, we're not doing it. You can't. I don't
Probably.
know.
Yeah, he's the gatekeeper. But
Right.
they're doing it with it, as a matter of fact, as well. They got
Yeah,
a
which
new.
looks great.
Yeah,
Welcome to
I'm
Derry.
very psyched about it.
Yeah.
Um, so where did the idea for Night of the Reaper come from?
I mean, it kind of goes back to I was at a party when I was in the eighth grade. It was my friend's birthday, and it was just we're too young to drink, we're too young to actually party. So they rented When a Stranger Calls, and we all just sat in the dark and ate pizza and
Oh,
drank soda, and we're just watching this movie, which nobody remembers anything after the first 20 minutes. There's the first 20
right.
minutes,
It's
incredible. It's iconic. It's so good. And then, the rest of the movie happens. But that first 20 minutes and just the idea of a babysitter being stalked and like you're in an unfamiliar house, you've got kids that aren't yours. You're just this weird teenage protector for
yeah,
this small period of time. It's bizarre to me. But that kind of always just stuck in my head. And so when I got to be able to do horror movies and everything, I'd always wanted to do a babysitter film just because of that film. And then, the opportunity came up, and my brother and I were just getting to talking about it, and we just sort of landed on this idea of a babysitter with a twist thing that was like kind of a trap. And yeah,
yeah.
we just kind of developed it from there. In like 2020 is when we started working on it really, and then I think yeah, we kind of just kept mining the story until we had what we have. And but yeah, I would definitely say it all goes back to When a Stranger Calls.
I can't begin to explain to you how happy I am that you said that, because I watched the opening
Hmm.
of your movie, and the first thing I thought of was When a Stranger Calls. I was
Cool.
like, there's like something about this that it feels like that. And you're
Nice.
right, that movie, um, the first 20 minutes is the whole movie. Like it
Yeah,
kind of falls off after that. But those 20 minutes are
totally.
just, yeah. So I'm glad you
So
said that,
much.
because it really did remind me of that. Like, that's crazy.
And it's funny because like if you watch it, that movie's from '79. Like it holds up so well technically. Like there's shots in that movie in the latter half that even now I'm just like, how the hell did they do that? Like it's these long dolly moves where you can see the floor the whole time, so it's probably on
Yep.
something like what now we have technology to do anything, but this is in the '70s. Like you just couldn't. So
Yeah.
It's really crazy to watch, and like it's lit really well. It's just shot so well. It's bizarre. But yeah, I mean, the 20 minutes at the beginning is all that. It's kind of like Ghost Ship. Like nobody watches after everyone gets
After,
cut.
yeah.
It's just like, okay, great, next, and you turn it off because that's so iconic. So I mean, going into this, I was like, even if the opening 10 is all people watch, like that's cool because that's what it was. It's for so many movies. I mean,
Well, I'll
fortunately,
tell you, I
people watch a little
watched,
bit more.
like I said, I watched Night of the Reaper again today. I watched it with
Mm-hmm.
my wife. She didn't watch it with me the first time. She watched it with me today. And
Mm-hmm.
she literally, like, when the title screen popped up, she was like, "That's a hell of an opener." Like, it had
Cool.
caught her, like. So,
Nice.
you did a good job.
Yeah, my
Have you ever
my brother. I
seen?
was.
Oh no, go
What's
ahead. Go
that?
ahead.
I was just gonna
I
say
was
when I
just
was
gonna say,
shooting. Oh, okay, here I'll go first.
yeah, go ahead.
When I was shooting Superhouse, my brother wrote the first 10 pages of the script, which was the cold open. He just sent it to me, and it was just like pretty much what you're seeing in the movie was what he wrote there, and it was just like spitballing an idea. And we tightened a few things, tweaked a few things, but in general, that's what it was, and it's just sort of always been this thing that kind of existed. So yeah, no, it was a big deal to do that open the way it is.
It was brilliant. I was just gonna say, like you mentioned Stranger, so I was like gonna ask just for shits and giggles, have you ever seen When a Stranger Calls Back, the sequel?
I haven't. I never even knew it existed. There's apparently two sequels, isn't there?
Yeah, I think there is.
Or maybe
Yeah,
it's just the sequel and the remake.
I just asked because I don't know anybody who actually has seen it, so I just was
Yeah,
wondering. But that
that's
first
funny.
one is just so iconic.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
the second one, the assistant director on Reaper, he was a big fan of the second one, so he'd always bring it up, and I was like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but yeah, apparently it's good.
yeah. Do you have a pet project that you're working on, or that you've been like, oh, was Reaper it for a while?
Well, no, I've actually got another one coming out early next year. That's why I'm going to Boston for.
Okay,
But my brother and I have been. He wrote a couple of books years ago, and it's kind of a Stranger Things '80s small town thing, and it's it's
hmm
it's not exactly like Stranger Things, but it has a little similar DNA. And we've adapted the first book into a series, but it's getting TV going is so different from movies that you need more money, you need more you need a place for it to go. You can't just like take it to a film festival and sell it. It just doesn't really work that way. Um, so we've got this project that we've like been wanting to do. I think we wrote the first drafts in like 2019 or something.
okay,
And it's just like one of those projects that we'd love to do. But we have I've been toying with an idea to write for my son because Max in the movie is my son, and so he's little great actor. So I want to kind of write something for him and like do something really scary for a kid, which would be cool. That we're kind of like tinkering with right now. And then we've got a witch script that's out trying to get financing right now, and it's like this, kind of a creature feature with a witch, been kind of like a body horror thing.
okay.
But it's kind of like if a witch was using bodies as a cocoon, so it could kind of rebirth, and what happens to those bodies when it's trying to do that is pretty gnarly.
All right, all
Um,
right. I'm
but
interested.
yeah, we're just trying to get financing for it, and I would love to do it. I'm ready to go. It's just a matter of, can we get the money for it? Because it's a little bit bigger than some of these other movies I've done.
Yeah. Well, I've noticed with your films, like, there's never. It's not just like Night of the Reaper wasn't just a slasher. There's like
Right.
revenge twist to it. There's like and I you did Stillborn,
Hmm.
which to me was like it was very psychological, but there
Hmm.
was very supernatural involved as well. Like I
Right.
noticed, like you blend a lot of sub genres together as well in your films,
Yeah.
and I also noticed like you don't like you're not like strictly like I'm a slasher guy. Like that's all I do.
Sure.
You like to travel into other lanes, and I really appreciate that as a viewer. To tell you the truth, like it's
Cool.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, like when I did Stillborn, it was like I was the only one in my friend group that was married, and so it was like it made sense to do something that was kind of personal. And then I did Z, which again had some personal elements to it. And when I did that, I was just kind of like, I don't want to just be a mom horror guy, I want to try something new. And so I went like totally left field with Superhost, and I went more like comedy horror. and
Yeah.
what no supernatural, nothing like that. And so I was there, and then the Puppet Man came up, and it was like this possession kind of thing, and a little bit of a hot, college thing for better or worse. And and that was just like big on kills, like Final Destination. Like, we didn't have enough people to
Yeah.
kill because we didn't have the money, but the ones that are there are impactful. But yeah, just like playing with that, and then all of a sudden it's body cam, the found footage one. That I shot that actually before I shot Reaper. It's just coming out later. I went found footage with that one, and that's like police body cams, and it's like a domestic disturbance that two cops are called to. There's an accidental shooting, and then just the night goes insane, and they're just like trying to cover it up while everything's being recorded. Yeah, and then Reaper came up, and that's again like a slasher with a twist thing. I thought someone just hit my door. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like, I've got the opportunity to play in the genre. I want to, the genre is so deep. I want to just kind of like get my feet wet and start kicking around a little bit and see what happens. It's fun.
Yeah. Great. Um, was there, when you look back at Night of the Reaper, I'm
hmm
focusing mainly on that because obviously it just came out.
Yeah.
Um, did it come out exactly how you wanted? Was there anything you would have did differently now after watching the finished product? Or
That's funny. That's a good question. It's hard to answer now because um, now the movie's done. I only see it as it is. But the movie that I
yeah,
saw before I shot it was probably way different. Like, because you write it for a vision of a character, even like just like the actor. Like, you never know who you're gonna get. But when you're doing an indie, you do a casting process, you get a ton of tapes, and you pick the best one for that you feel like is
yep,
gonna fit the project. And like, with this one, Dina was supposed to be blonde. And the reason is so that because she's stealing Hattie's place, Hattie was also blonde. And so in the movie, you would have inevitably found out that she had dyed her hair for this day. So like when she comes home and sees her mom, it's like, oh, I love what you did with your hair. And when we cast Jessica, it was just like, one, we can't pay her enough money to dye her hair blonde, and two, we
right,
can't pay enough money to like get a super legit wig because they're crazy expensive. So it was just like, all right, it's just like one thing that gets cut out. And so
yeah,
it's not a big deal. Like, you wouldn't think about it, you wouldn't miss it, but if you know about it, it's just another layer that we were playing with. So yeah, I mean, it's more like the actors, and you never know what the locations will look like either. I think the sheriff's house is pretty dead on with what we wanted, but like
yeah,
all the other places, you just sort of get what you get because you're scouting. You're trying to find a period accurate house for a movie shot 30 or 40 years later. It's tough because if you're Hollywood money, you just build it, but when you're in indie, you have to
right,
find it, and that can be super challenging when you're doing something like this. So I think it's like now because I know the movie and I edited the movie and I've seen it so many times, it is exactly how I wanted it to be, but it's not the movie that I set out to make, if that makes sense.
yeah, totally. Um, so the sheriff's house, I have to ask you, um, what do you think? Because when we first see it, I feel creeped out by it a little bit actually.
Sure. It's
Like
terrifying.
it's a kind of a creepy creepy place.
Oh
Is
yeah.
it just but I couldn't pinpoint why I was creeped out by it. I
It's
don't
just
know
dark.
why.
Like, I think
Yeah.
part of it is just like even when you're inside in the daytime, it's dark. Like, the lights aren't very strong. I mean, I'll just tell you, like, that's not a real house. It's a house that was built for film, but the last people that used it was Hulu's Under the Banner of Heaven with Andrew Garfield. It was like a Mormon
Okay. Yep.
80s period thing. And so they used that house and then they just walked away fully set decorated. Like, all the furniture was there, all the props were there. Um, so when we did get an opportunity to see it, it was just like walking into the 80s already. And we changed stuff, like we changed the drapes and all that stuff. But walking into it, it was just the 80s, it was
Yeah. Yeah.
wild, like just this crazy time capsule. But like none of the power works, there's no plumbing, there's no bathrooms. I mean, there is, but it doesn't work. There's no basement, like that door just goes to the electrical for the house because it's all just run off a generator. Because it's a movie house and it's just like, it just is perfect for what we did though. It's just like such an amazing find.
Right. Right. I will tell you your locations are amazing. Like I
Yeah,
love watching
we got
where like
lucky.
yeah. Uh, like I will tell you I Puppet Man was that filmed in
That
like
was
the in Canada?
No, that was Buffalo, New York, actually.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Um, all I know is I watched that movie and I was like, I don't want to move there. It looks like there's a lot of snow and this just
Sure. Yeah. No, it's I'd never been to Buffalo before shooting that, and it is well, if you're a Red Sox fan, it's fun to shit on it because of the Bills, but um, it is a very just like great. It looks amazing. It's cinematic as hell. Like Guillermo del
yeah,
Toro shoots there. A lot of people do because it's beautiful, but it is very like it's very old and like kind of run down a little bit.
yep.
But it's beautiful in its own way. And I love shooting there, and the crews were great and everything, and the film commission, they were awesome. But yeah, there is definitely like it's past its prime, I guess. It's on the back end, and it's just kind of like I don't know, they're all Bills fans. They're all miserable. you know?
Maybe this year. I mean, Josh
Yeah,
Allen, who knows?
for sure.
Um, what do you like to do when you're not filming?
I mean, I've got three kids and I'm married, so I mean, most of the, when I'm not making a movie, I'm pretty much in dad mode. Like right now, my oldest is almost 14, and I'm coaching his baseball team. My other son, Max, in the movie, he's gonna start a play that he does in November and December, and it's literally every day. So it's gonna be a lot of driving him downtown, and he does his performance, and then you have to go pick him up, and it's all that. My other my daughter's in dance and all cheerleading and stuff, and it's a lot. So I don't really like my wife and I hang out and stuff like that, but I don't really have a lot of time for hobbies. It's just like making movies and parent. Like I'm mostly a
Yeah,
dad or a director. I'm not much else.
yeah, you're preaching to the choir. Let me tell you.
Hmm. How many kids do you have?
um, I have two. But
Okay.
one of them is 28 and the
Oh,
other is
geez.
13. Yeah, so
Oh, wow. That's a gap.
yeah. um, what? So, like I said, you do a lot in horror, obviously. What um are you like when you're not doing watching horror? Do you find yourself gravitating more towards comedy or drama? Like as far as viewing, like what do you enjoy when you're not partaking in
Yeah,
the?
I like I like comedy, I think probably the most. Like I would love to make a
Yeah,
comedy if I could. The problem is, and just like the realistically sad thing is that unless you have like big name actors anchoring your film, you can't sell it or anything. It's very hard. Seth Rogen in your movie, you're gonna do great. Not
right.
just random indie actor or whatever, they're not gonna help sell anything because comedy doesn't travel very well. Like horror does, something that scares you here scares someone in like China or Japan or Russia or whatever. Everyone gets scared by the same things. And so
Yeah, but
but comedy is much more cultural. Like it's jokes that are rooted in the language, and like it could be just like alliteration in a sentence is funny, but when you translate that over, you lose that. And so comedies are just they're very hard to make independently because no one wants to finance them unless you've got a big name, and you can't get a big name unless you have money, and it's just like really tough thing. But yeah, I mean, in general though, I'd probably watch comedy the most. But these days it feels like I'm just watching like bullshit on YouTube more than anything.
me too. But that's because, like I said, we're parents, and I get caught up
Yeah,
because they make me want to watch something.
for sure.
How long have you been making movies? Like,
I guess the first like going back to when I was a kid, like we would shoot little movies, like superhero movies, when I was 9 and 10. So like we got
okay,
a camcorder for Christmas in 1993, and we just never put it down. Like my parents never used it. It was always just us shooting dumb skits and things like that. It was because I had three siblings. We had a full team, so we could shoot stuff for
right?
like this period of time. And then, as you get older and life starts to become real, you sort of slow down. Your hobby becomes a smaller hobby. Um, and yeah, I kind of just hadn't really done anything for a couple of years. And then I went to film school when I was 19, and, picked it up really hard because I finally had people around me that also wanted to do it. And I made new friends, and it was like a new city. And it was just this exciting time. And so I got into shooting music videos. And I always wanted to
Okay,
do shorts, and I always wanted to do features, but the path there, it wasn't very short. Like I was 20. I think when I did my first professional like played on TV music video, and then my first feature I was 31. So it was like, 11 years of just slowly grinding, and like hustling.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
I got married when I was 23. So it was like all of a sudden I'm taking care of someone, then we have kids when I'm 25. And it's like, it's just like this
yeah,
ongoing thing. And you're just, splitting time between, again, dad and director. So, yeah, it's been a haul, but I'm finally in a place where I wanted to be a long time ago, but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not it's not quite where I want to be now. I want to keep growing and getting better and trying new things. So, yeah, it's cool.
Is it cool to ask what your first music video was that played?
Yeah, it was called the band was called Dear Jane I, uh, and I can't remember what the song was called. But it was like the first time I was able to shoot. Like we built a set because I had a school that we had
Yeah,
studio space and stuff like that. And it was just like, it just felt like the first time I was actually doing something. Because when I was, in high school and stuff, none of my friends were into that, so I couldn't just do it there. But now all of a sudden, I was
right.
surrounded by people that wanted to, and so it was awesome. I can't remember what the song was called, but yeah, it's not worth watching at all, but it's cool. I mean, it's on YouTube and stuff, so.
Um, so do you feel more comfortable? I mean, obviously you write and direct, so you like. Do you feel more comfortable filming like um a movie that you've written yourself, or you're making it like an adaptation? Like, what gives you more freedom? Do you think?
I think writing yourself, because I mean, when you're reading someone else's work, you're just interpreting it, like, and it might be wrong.
Yeah,
Like even stuff with when I write with my brother, like he has a different idea of how something would play compared to how it actually plays or how I thought it would play. And ultimately it's kind of my say just because I'm the one on set. But it's yeah, it's really tough because you sometimes can miss something. Like there's lines in this in Reaper, for example, that I just shot and didn't really think about. But like when Max says to Dina, and he's just the very first time we see him when he's playing the Atari, he's like, Hattie or what is it? Hattie farts and blames the dog, and then Dina's
we
like,
don't have a
and then
dog.
we don't
Yeah,
have a
it's a
dog.
great
Yeah,
line.
but it's also setting up for later. Like she starts hearing a dog, and so that is in her head. And like I didn't
Yeah,
even notice that. And so he wrote that, put that in, and I didn't notice until like the movie was done. I was like, oh my God, like that makes so much sense to set up. But because you never know, like the sheriff might just have a dog if you hear a dog outside. So saying
right.
that sets up a lot of things for later, and I had no idea. So that there's some fun things like that, like fun
You know what's
surprises.
funny is I never put that together either. To tell you the truth, but like I
I
thought it
saw it
was
a
just a
lot more
cute
than
little
usual.
joke, and then yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I saw it like 30 times before I finally figured that one out. So, yeah, you're not missing much.
Well, um, what was I going to ask? Do you find um okay, so you've written, you've directed, you've done visual effects.
Hmm.
Is there anything that you haven't done yet? Have you done sound engineering, or can you tell me
No,
what a best boy is? Because I don't even know what a best boy or a grip does. Like,
yeah, the best boy is like he's the person under the gaffer. So it's like he's like the best boy electric. So you've got like a key grip and a gaffer, and the gaffer touches the lights and electricity, and the grips they do all the building and like stands and stuff like that. So you've got your
okay,
gaffer at the top, the key grip at the top, and then you've got your best boy electric on under the gaffer. Then you've got like grips underneath the key grip. And so yeah, that's what that is. It's a name. It's like it doesn't
I
it's a weird name, but it's a fun name.
I see it all the time, and I'm like, man, I
Yeah,
wish I knew what that was.
right. Yeah, it's just the second in command kind of. It's like the sous chef.
I so we're pretty new to podcasting and everything,
Hmm.
but we found that the like we our whole podcast is about like that feeling in the late 80s, early 90s on a Friday night. You looking for something to do, you go to the movie like
Hmm.
rental store and you pick out you just go down that horror aisle and all those cool pictures and like
The
and
best.
just discovering like a gem that you haven't seen before, so that's like what
Hmm.
we focus on. But like I guess it's a long way of saying like we're new to this and we've noticed that the the horror community is very welcoming. They're like
Totally.
very happy to like help out to like get you um like have you noticed that as well? Like do you find that
Oh
as
yeah,
well, or
for
it's
sure,
pretty
dude. I
crazy.
mean, yeah, in the horror there, I mean, you just look at how many specific film festivals there are, right? Like they're everywhere.
Right.
Every weekend, somewhere in the world is a big horror festival. There's not that many like, can you name one comedy film festival in the world? No. Like
Not
there's a ton
really.
of
I know
festivals
there's
that
like
play comedy.
yeah,
There's gonna be some, for sure. My point is like horror fans just love horror, you know? Comedy fans, they are a little bit more split up. Like, they might like or there's a lot of different subgenres there too, but they're not all as welcoming. It's not like people don't like build their personalities around Jim Carrey, you know? But like people are
let's hope
like
not.
they've
Yeah.
got tattoo, yeah, and it's just like people have tattoos of horror people and stuff like that. It's just it's like a culture because it's so interesting and different, and it's not for everybody. So everybody that finds each other in there, they all just love each other. So I mean, when I go to film festivals, if I go to like a normal film festival that's playing a movie, the crowd's
Yeah.
polite, but it's not the same as going to a horror film festival where it's just like they love that shit and they want to love that shit, like
Right.
they're not jaded at all, like, and that's so cool, and they spread that appreciation for the movie to the filmmakers too. So yeah, I mean, if you can find yourself at a film festival for horror like Boston, there's the Midnight Fest coming up. It's super cool. Everybody's awesome.
Cool. Do you have a favorite like movie that you worked on for visual effects, like that you like the effects were just like
Yeah.
they challenged you
um
and they
I just did one uh last year, I think it was. It was, oh, it's like a western, but there was a shot where they're like holding a tarantula, and it's like a close up of a tarantula, and they're supposed to pull the leg off of it, you know?
yeah.
But they couldn't do that, so they just like pulled it till it was straight and let go because, you can't kill a tarantula on screen.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, like they just said you have to make it look like the leg came off, and it was just like, I don't know, like, just I don't know. Figuring that out and like watching this footage of this disgusting hairy tarantula over and over and over was really interesting. And I did it and I made it work and it got approved. But it's those weird little challenges like that that you don't really think are going to be hard, but when you start doing them, you're
Yeah.
just like, oh shit, none of this makes sense. Like I have to deconstruct the image and build it back up. And I'm not terribly good at that, but I can get it done. That was gratifying. There's another one I did. It's called It's a Wonderful Knife. I don't know if you ever saw that one. It was
Yes,
like a
I have
Christmas horror
actually.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did
Yes.
like 98% of the VFX on that movie. And there's
Yeah.
one shot in the film which is like really a nothing shot. I mean, it's important in the movie, but
Excuse me.
they unmask the killer and they take off this white mask, and there was like this long tail of fabric on it. So when they dragged it over, you get like a half reveal, and then you get the full reveal. And they're
Yep.
like, we don't like splitting the reveal. Like you kind of lose the impact if you see it twice. So is there anything we can do? And like that was another one that just like broke my brain. But eventually I got it to a point where I like timed three shots together, and it rotoscoped it all, and it works great. And like you would never ever question it because why would that be a VFX shot? But it took so much work that
Yeah.
I was like so proud at the end. It's so dumb. It's like 1 second long, but it's just like, yes, I made this stupid impossible shot work, and like that's it's so gratifying when you forget it's a VFX.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um so you were talking about the tarantula and it made me think like what creeps you out? Like what is there like
Well, I don't like spiders, so that wasn't the greatest thing to work with.
yeah.
But I don't really like heights that much. I'm not as bad as I used to be. But I don't know. I'm not really scared. Like my wife, she won't go on a plane without, you have to get drug, like you have to take like an Ativan or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
so you can just totally calm yourself. But I'm totally chill about that. Um, I don't
I
know.
find I'm the spider hunter of the house, so
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I'm the reluctant spider hunter. I
yeah.
have to because I'm the dad, but I don't like it. It's always just like, God damn it, yeah, kill it. Yeah, that's tough.
Um, what's the has there been a horror movie that has like changed you? Like I don't know how to put this. I guess like Jaws for me, I stopped swimming in the ocean.
Sure.
I
Oh
was like
yeah.
4 when I saw it, and I've never been in the ocean ever again. Is there like a movie that's done that to you,
How
either
old
good
were?
or bad? Like
Yeah. How old were you when you saw that?
I think I was like 3 or 4.
Yeah, so that's interesting because that made the impression on you because you kind of grew up with that, like when your
Yeah,
brain's developing. Because it was like that for me, the miniseries that I talked about when I saw it in kindergarten. Because I remember this and it screwed me up for a while, but I was in kindergarten in class and I had to pee and I was too scared to go to the bathroom because I thought there'd be a red balloon would blow up in the bathroom or
okay,
whatever.
right, yeah,
So I just didn't and I peed my pants in class and like I had to go home and it was this humiliating event and like I would think of that honestly for like the next 5, 6, 7 years. It was always just like this mortifying event from my life, but that
yeah,
was all because of it. But the same thing, I saw it so young that it was like I don't think now I would see anything that did that to me.
yeah. Do you when you're watching other people's films, horror, do you ever get a little creeped out by like a certain scene gets you, or like or are you kind of like? Because I've been watching them for so long that
Hmm.
I almost feel immune to it sometimes, but then every
Yeah.
once in a while there's like a scene and I'm like, oh, that was pretty creepy. Like that
Yeah.
was well done.
Um, yeah, I mean, I always get creeped. Like, if especially the environment. Like, if you go to a film festival and you watch it in a theater, like, it's so much scarier just
Yeah,
because it's so in your face. Like, you can't, if you're at home, you can just, I'm gonna go pee or something like that. But in a
yeah. Grab a
theater,
snack.
you've got this giant screen in front of you and you just can't escape it. So, anything you see in theaters, like I saw Weapons recently, and did you see it?
God, I want to. Like,
Okay. There's one scene where it lingers on a woman sleeping in her car,
yeah,
and it's just like it's one shot. It's probably a minute and a half long, and it's so subtle what happens, but it's so scary. And like it's one of those things where it's like you see it, then you don't see it, and you can feel it because it's all happening around you, and it's just so like the sound is doing everything. It's just the perfect scare scene, and like
yeah,
even now. I'm pretty jaded when watching now because I'm always trying to like see how did they do that, and I'm like trying to figure it out and on that
right,
kind of
right.
level. But with this one, I was just 100% just like, oh shit, like so scared. So, yeah, that definitely stands out recently.
There was a movie a few years ago called *Malignant* that came out,
Oh yeah.
and it was okay, but there's this one scene where like this guy walks from the kitchen into the living room, and there's nobody there, but there you can see the impression in the couch
Oh
of
yeah,
somebody
yeah, that's
sitting,
great.
and it's such a like so well. That one scene is so
Yeah,
well done.
yeah.
Um,
James Wan is like the king of supernatural horror, like
yeah,
he's just so far and above everybody else. He created The Conjuring, Insidious, like it's a crazy billion-dollar franchises that he himself created. But he's just like the master of it. So Malignant, yeah, that was a crazy movie. But that first like 15, 20 minutes feels like a Conjuring movie where
yeah,
that happens, and it's so well
yeah.
done.
So we talked about Easter eggs earlier.
Hmm.
Do you like to put Easter eggs in your movies?
For sure.
Is there
I
like
mean,
a
yeah, so it's dude, it's the coolest thing in the world. Like to be able to do that. Like it's so stupid, but and so many things happen like when you're either on set or you're about to be. Like in Night of the Reaper there's a for sale sign outside of the house and it says R.B. Christensen. It's Ryan Brandon Christensen. Like and when they're designing it, they're like, "What do you want to say?" I was just like, "I don't know." Like, you have to come up with an answer for everything.
right?
Everyone's got a question, and you have to give them an answer, even if you don't know. So, it's just part of directing. And so it's just like, just do this. R.B. Christensen. It's a fun Easter egg. It's a little shout out to my brother. And it's kind of it's kind of vain in a stupid way, but no, it's just movies. It's just fun. I like to just throw
Yeah,
shit
fair.
in because they're just for fun.
That's a great one, actually.
Yeah. There's a few in the movie. But that's a
Um,
pretty big one.
do you have somebody that you would like to work with, particularly especially like in horror? Like, is there a like an icon of horror that you
Sure.
want to?
I think it'd be really cool to work with Robert Englund in
Okay,
something, and just like because he's there was a lot of different Jasons, but he was Freddy. There was
yeah,
different Michael Myers, he was always Freddy.
yeah,
And so he has like an imprint on, I think, that time more than anybody, because like the mask would stay kind of the same, but the body would change and all that stuff for all these other people. Um, but Freddie was like emoting and performing and having fun and just like getting an opportunity to put him in anything, even if it was just like a small day player role, it'd be so cool because it's just like this is Freddy Krueger. Like, we've had new ones since then, but that's
right,
Freddy, you know?
right, yeah. Actually, we haven't announced it on the show yet, but uh, 976 Evil was going to be one that we're covering pretty soon. So,
Oh, cool.
which was his directorial,
Sure.
debut. So that's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Uh, so my guy, I, m- we talk about this a lot, and it's like uh, Tom Savini. I want to meet Tom Savini so
Hmm.
bad.
That'd be cool too. Yeah,
I mean,
icon of horror.
yeah, and he's very much like you, where he's done a lot of different
Sure.
things in the, like he's directed, he's acted, he's written, he's obviously, the effects, like
Yeah.
he's done it all as well.
He just loves filmmaking and he loves being a
Yeah.
part of it in any capacity. That's pretty much what it is.
Plus, I'm sure he's got a ton of great stories to tell
Mm-hmm.
between working with like Romero and
Mm-hmm.
uh on the first Friday the 13th, and
Sure.
there's got to be a ton of just a bank of knowledge there.
Yeah. It'd be curious if there's any stories from those sets that he hasn't told before, Like if
Right.
because there's when you do a lot of press and he's done more than most, um, you get a lot of the same questions, and you're always trying to like restate the same answer in a different way. But he has had so many years of it, 40 years of answering about those projects that I'm like,
Fair, yeah.
has he milked the cow dry, or is there stuff that he's like, maybe I shouldn't say that, I don't know. It'd
Yeah.
be interesting. There's got to be some
So
skeletons in
th-
those
th-
productions.
there has to be.
Yeah, there always is.
Was Reaper always going to be a Shutter original, or?
Um, it was very likely going to end up one, but
Yeah.
it wasn't originally going to start as one. Well, actually, going back to 2022, we were going to do it with Shutter back then, and we were pretty much like locked and loaded and ready to kind of start going, but AMC had that big falling out. It was like they had this like really bad sales call or something like that, so they had to
Yeah.
like cut 15% of everything under their umbrella, and Shutter was one of them. So there was this like kind of a reshuffling at Shutter, and they just sort of reprioritized how they did things. Um, and so the project got canceled then. And then when we last summer we got an opportunity to do this other script, that witch one, and it ended up just falling through, and the investors decided to attach themselves to Reaper instead. It was like, a weird swap thing. And then Shutter came on board like around that time, and that it just became a Shutter. It always felt like it should have been, just because of my relationship with them and everything. It's just the industry's changed where a lot of deals are done after the movie's done. And so it's
Right.
just, but yeah, they came on very early on, like before we shot.
Has there been a project that you've worked on and it hasn't seen the light of day, and because of
If you,
financing and stuff, or?
oh, well, I mean, I've been pretty fortunate to be able to like shoot the things that I have,
Yeah.
wanted to. I've got like this witch thing that I'm hoping eventually happens, but there's never really been a time where I'm just like, I've got this script and I'm just like banging on doors trying to do it, because everything that I write is always built to shoot. Like they're always smaller and cheaper.
Right.
Like Superhost was like super small. We had a cabin, all this stuff. So it was very cheap. So most of the time, like it's easier to get $200,000 than it is like 10 million,
Right.
Um,
Right.
so I've never run into that. But when I was doing Body Cam, that found footage movie, that took like 2 years in post. So there was a long time where I was like, is this movie ever going to finish? I was just like, did I get myself into something I can't get out of? And
Right.
almost. Yeah, it's close. That was a tough one.
So the this so Body Cam is the one that they're premiering or they're showing on
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah.
Very cool. And the Witch one is one that you worked
Want to
on
shoot.
after that. Oh, you're
Well,
going to
yeah.
shoot.
Hopefully, we're just looking for financing, like someone to take the risk with us,
Yeah.
and
I
that's
mean, I think you got a pretty good body of work to
yeah, and
like.
it's yeah. I've done pretty well, so um, it seems like it's very possible. It's just a matter of when. So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I've noticed like I said before, like very different subgenres of horror, but
Hmm.
like all like they pull the stories pull you right in. You know what I mean? Like you can't help but watch them.
Cool.
So, um, is there like a I don't know how to put this. You've done so many different styles. Is there a different subgenre that you haven't done yet that you'd like to try?
Um, Creature feature like the witch one. Like I would love to
Yeah,
do that, just because like playing with prosthetics and things like that is so fun. It takes
yeah,
time and it's very expensive, and that's the hard part. But having something on set to react to and stuff is like when we shot Z, we had
yeah,
Z in it, but I wouldn't call it a creature feature. It's more like a child horror. But um, it was just fun to have this weird thing to in front of you when you're filming, and you just like
yeah,
can see it while you're doing it. It's not like a CG creature or something like that. That's really cool. So yeah, having like a fully animated, articulated prosthetic witch that we would have in this thing would be pretty fun, especially with what it does in the movie. Like it's pretty crazy.
yeah. I gotta tell you, like creature features are right up my alley. Like
Nice.
going back to like the 50s, those like the like them or like
Mm-hmm.
even like the Tingler or something like that. I love those. I always love a good creature feature. If it's done right,
Cool.
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, do you ever find yourself needing a middle-aged, fat, bearded white guy to be killed in one of your movies? Because if so, I work for free.
Cool. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, the next one we'll see. I will need if we do the witch one. There's a lot of bodies, so we might need to make that call.
Yeah, that's a bucket list. I don't know,
Yeah, for sure. Honestly,
but
if you want to die in a movie, I don't think it's that hard. You just
yeah,
need to like seek it out because there's projects going on everywhere. If you can just find where they are in like Facebook groups in your city, you put like your city filmmaking groups, whatever. People are shooting constantly. So if you want to find a set to go to, I guarantee you could with not a ton of
yeah,
effort. You just got to do it.
fair enough.
So you can
That's
do it.
my thing, getting motivated.
Yeah, yeah. I believe in you. If you want to die on a film, you can. I'm sure you can.
Thank you, sir. But honestly, Brandon, I appreciate you coming on with us. Like,
Yeah, it's fun.
big fan. I can't wait to see what you come up with in the future. Um, you definitely have a household here that's loving all your movies. So,
That's cool.
um,
I have one question for you actually.
yeah,
Y-
absolutely.
Your kid, you said it was 28 and 16?
13.
13, sorry.
Yep.
That's like two different generations. That's like pre-iPhone and post-iPhone parenting.
Yeah.
What was the most different thing having babies in like two distinct technological eras?
So that's a trick question because I'm still trying to learn the.
Sure.
It's a very I don't know how to answer that. Like it's everything's different from
Yeah.
schooling to like the way they play sports.
Right.
It's crazy. So
Yeah.
there's always like it's always something new getting thrown at us.
Sure. Are the
But
problems like, take them in middle school or whatever. I guess your youngest is only 13, but any sort of like distinct chunk like that, was there a difference between what you're seeing now compared to 15 years ago?
I mean, they are very two different. They are different people. But no, because I think I like fundamentally like puberty is puberty. Like
Hmm.
you're you can almost map out exactly how they're going to react to things
Okay.
or how they're going to start feeling things,
Right.
and even though you know it's coming, you're not ready for it. You
Sure.
know? Like,
That's funny. But they were
yeah.
similar enough when that happened,
Yeah, oh,
like
yeah,
when they
yeah,
hit, you kind
yeah.
of could like mind read the next one because of what you experienced with the first
Yeah, and
one.
it's really cool because he's older now, so he can guide his younger brother
Oh,
through
okay.
stuff as well. It's almost like having a third parent.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. That's an interesting way to put it too, because they can take on that role. No, that's cool. Yeah, it was just when you said that, I was like, Jesus, that's a big gap. That's an interesting thought. That's cool.
You can use that idea.
Yeah, yeah, I might have to for sure. Yeah, we'll see. I'll let you know. I'll kill you in that one.
Fair enough. Um, but like, yeah. So honestly, thank you for coming on. We greatly appreciate it. And
No worries.
yeah, anytime you have anything you want to promote or anything, we'll definitely have you back on.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
All right. It
Have
was
a great
fun.
night.
Thanks. You too, bud.